Alright, in this video we'll be going over worksheet 2-5 for the class Hands-on Fun with Rational Numbers. If you're not in this class but you would like to take it and learn these skills, just go down to the description for this class and you'll see a link to the classroom. And then you can sign up. If you're in this class, give me 1 second. I'm going to post the pictures on the screen and you can correct your work and then we'll talk about it. Alright, so hold on. Alright, so check your work real quick, and if you feel as though you don't understand how you got how I got the answer, please stick around for the homework video. Alright, so I'm going to assume that you're done grading it and you have clicked off the pause and you want me to show you how to do it. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. And I'm also going to change my color so it pops out when I'm doing. Alright, so in multiplication of fractions, we just multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. And remember in class that this is because we don't care about place value when we multiply and divide. And we did that example with a whole number to show that it's actually lining up the place values. We're just doing it in a quicker way where we can ignore that place value. Remember when I said 2 times 1/2? Well, that's 1/2 plus 1/2, which is, if I, do my place value straight over, is going to be 1, which makes sense. If I'm adding 2 halves of a cookie together, I'm going to get 1 full cookie. That is what multiplication does, is it just does it quicker. If I just multiply straight across, I get the same exact thing without caring about its place value. So multiplication is just a quicker way of doing repetitive addition, okay? And it helps us when we have 2 fractions. We're actually only adding something in a fractional amount of the time. Now, you'll see that my answer is 1/3. So we also should have by this point learned cross-canceling. Like I said, until we actually get to factor trees and breaking down for reducing, I'm not going to be too strict about reducing, but I decided to put the answers to this worksheet all reduced because we did learn cross-canceling. So remember, in cross-canceling, I could have crossed out both of these 2's, leaving me just with 1/3. Okay? Now this one, there is really no cross-canceling I could have done, so all I have to do is multiply across the top, which is 2. 7 times 5 is 35. Okay, so as you can see, I kind of modeled some of my cross-canceling in this one. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it, though, for the purposes of showing you again. Okay, so I can cross out these 3's, right? And I can cross out this 2 and this 8. So 2 goes into 2 1 time and into 8 4 times. I can also cross out this 2 with this 4. So 2 can go into 2 1 time and into 4 2 times. So, put my 1's on my 3's. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. And 5 times 2 is 10, times 1 is still 10. Now, you don't have to do cross-canceling. It just makes it a lot easier. Makes it so you don't have to break it down and reduce it in the end. But it's not necessary. You could have multiplied 2 times 3, which is 6, times 2 more, which is 12, and then went 5 times 8, which is 40, times 3 more, which is 120. Okay, you would see then, hey, I think that 12 can go into both numbers. And then you could have reduced it down, or you could have just said the answer is 12 over 120. Remember, I'm not particular about reducing yet, but soon I will be. Okay, because it is a skill we need to learn how to do, but I don't think it's as super important as a lot of teachers think. You'll find in a lot of real life situations we don't even want to reduce because that means we don't know how many parts make a whole thing. Okay, so it matters on the real life situation, but it is a skill we should know how to do. So I would have taken 1/10 or 12 over 20 as the answer. depending on the way that you did it or if you reduced or not. All right, in this one, if I'm doing the cross-canceling method, and remember, you've got to pick, do I reduce before math or after math? Doesn't matter, just pick away. If I cross out my 2's, I get 1/5 right off the bat, but I could have just multiplied straight across. 2 times 1 is 2, and 5 times 2 is 10. And then I could have said, I know that 2 goes into both, which gives me 1/5, but I would have taken 2 over 10 as an answer as well. All right, in this one, if I'm doing cross canceling, I can say 2 goes into 2 one time and into 4 2 times, which would give me 1 times 3, which is 3, and 7 times 2, which is 14. Or I could have went 2 times 3 is 6, and 7 times 4 is 28. So I would have taken 6 over 28 as well, or you could have reduced it after your math, saying that 2 can go into both. 2 can go into 6 3 times and into 28 14 times. Remember, I do not care if you reduce before your math or you reduce after your math, okay? And we haven't really even gotten down into multiples and factors and everything that make these up. That's kind of the last thing I do. I kind of do it with division, and I'll show you why I kind of teach that with division when we get there, which if you're on this worksheet is coming up very soon. Okay, there's nothing I can cross cancel in this one, so no matter how you do it, you just multiply straight across. 3 times 1 is 3, and 5 times 2 is 10. If you do cross-canceling method and you couldn't cross-cancel anything, then you know that you have a reduced fraction. If not, ask yourself, what goes into 3? 3 times 1. What goes into 10? 2 times 5. You can't share any of those. All right, we have 4 more questions to go. So in this one, I could have reduced by going 2 goes into 2 one time and 2 goes into 10 5 times. I also could have done, if you want to do it this way, I could have done the 2 and the 4 because they're still diagonal, right? So 2 goes into 2 one time and into 4 2 times. Either way, it's going to give you the same answer. 7 times 1 is 7, and 10 times 2 is 20, okay? I could have just done it the old-fashioned way as well. Multiply across the tops and do 14, and multiply across the bottoms and 40. And then if I knew how to reduce already, which some of my students do, you would have said, oh, I know 2 can go both into top and bottom, and you would have gotten 7 over 20. But again, not important right now. I want you to focus on the skill of being able to multiply a fraction, get that done down really well. Get the skill of cross-canceling if that's what the way method you want to use to reduce down really well. And we will keep revisiting cross-canceling. We're going to visit it again when we start talking about multiples and factors. So that is not something you necessarily have to worry too much about. We're getting there, okay? I just like to introduce it around division, okay? All right. So in this one, I can cross cancel. 3 goes into 3 one time and into 6 2 times. 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 times 8 is 16. Now you could have just multiplied straight across, because remember I'm taking unreduced answers right now as well. Okay, and if you did that, you would have gotten 3 over 48, which can be reduced down by 3's. All right, in this one, if you were doing cross-canceling, you could have said 2 goes into 2 one time and into 4 2 times. 3 goes into 3 one time and into 9 3 times, which would have given you 1 times 1, which is 1, and 3 times 2, which is 6. Or you could have given me the unreduced answer at this point. And you might be doing this worksheet and we haven't done cross-canceling. That is also a possibility. I'm not 100% sure where you guys are in the class. I make these for all of my sections of this class, but usually I do those two on the same day. All right, if I'm cross canceling, I can cancel out these two, okay, because they're both 7s, and I can cancel out, I can say 3 goes into 3 one time and into 12 4 times, multiply across top bottom and get 1/4. All right, or I could have done it this way. And then when I do this one, I'm going to model my steps. So step 1, and if you did cross canceling first, just make that your first step. But step 1 should be multiply. And you could do this in pictures. We did a little bit, I usually do a little bit of modeling of fractions in the class. So if you want to model, you can. I'm going to write it out. Okay, because remember our goal is to get away from modeling and into more algebraic ways of explaining things. So multiply the numerators, which is 3 times 7, which is 21. Okay. Step 2, multiply denominators, which is 7 times 12, which is going to be 84. And then step 3 is going to be reduce if applicable. And I'm just going to put app because I don't want to spend forever writing it. Because like I said, there are situations when it wouldn't be. Okay, so if you know how to reduce, you know that 7 goes into both numbers. And then you know that 3 goes into both numbers. But I also would have taken the answer of 21 over 84 because remember, there's not always a reason to reduce a fraction. We will talk about that when we get to the discovery project with fractions. That is coming up very soon. All right, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know if you're having trouble and you need more help. All right, see you around.